Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and this is our first video on this channel. Guys, we're going to be learning how to make a Bubu dress or a Kaftan dress. But before we get into the real deal, guys, please do subscribe, like and follow. So this is the fabric we'll be working with. Our main fabric here is an Ankara fabric, and we are pairing it with a Duchess fabric. Guys, you can use any fabric of your choice, but on this video, this is what we are going to be working with. So let's go ahead to fold our fabric into 4. So I've folded my fabric vertically, and I'm going ahead to fold it horizontally. And also I've gotten my perfect length for this dress, guys, including my hemming allowance. So I'm going to be taking time to arrange this fabric to make sure that there are no lumps, and also make sure that my ends are meeting or even. So I'm going to take my time to arrange everywhere possible. So the first thing we're going to be getting is our sleeve length, which the width of this fabric is already enough for me to get, but I'm going to be showing you how to do this if you don't know how to do it. So firstly, you're going to divide your shoulder by 2, and you're going to be marking it from the midpoint. So my shoulder here is 16 divided by 2, which is 8. So that's my shoulder point. So from my shoulder point, you are going to be marking your sleeve length. So whatever your sleeve length is, you are going to mark it from your shoulder point. So after doing that, we are going to be getting all vertical measurements. So firstly, I'm going to be marking my bust line, and I'm using 12 inches for this dress. You can use lesser than 12 inches depending on your size or your client's size. So I'll mark my 12 inches on this end, and also mark it on the other end. And I'll connect with a ruler. So the next thing I'll be getting is my waist length. So I'm using a waist length of 20 inches. So I'm going to mark and connect with my ruler as well. And I'm going to be getting my hip line next. So I'm using a hip line of 32 inches. And I'm going to mark and connect as I've done for the bust and waist measurement. So once we're done doing this, we'll go ahead to get all horizontal measurements. So we're going to be doing our bust divided by 4 plus 2 inches is allowance. Please note that you can do more than 2 inches depending on how free you want your gown to be. But on this video, I am using 2 inches is allowance and 1 inch sewing allowance. So I'm doing the same thing for my waist. Waist divided by 4 plus 2 inches is allowance and 1 inch sewing allowance. And same thing again for my hip measurement. Sorry guys, my phone stopped recording, so I'm going to explain where we stopped. So I did my hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches is allowance and 1 inch in allowance, and whatever I got, I took it down to the hem. So like I projected the same thing on the hem of my fabric, and I used a ruler to connect it. I also connected my waist to the hip with a ruler, and also my bust line to my waist too. I connected all my lines with a ruler, and I'm blending my waist. Guys, if you have a curve, you can use your curve to blend this waist so that it's not too sharp. And I took out 1 inch from my sleeve allowance, from my sleeve. So on the armhole side, I had to slightly do a curve, a very slight curve. Guys, if you have a curve ruler, you can do that. Use your curve ruler to curve that part. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to get our neck width, of which I'm using 4 inches for this dress. So I used 4 inches for the width of my neckline, and I also used 1.5 inches for my neck depth. And from my front neck depth, I'm going to be using 10 inches for my front neck depth. So I'm going to mark it. So I'm going to be connecting my front neck depth with a ruler because it's a V neckline. And I will use my curve to connect my back neckline. So guys, when cutting this neckline, we are going to be cutting the back neckline only. So we're going to be cutting the back neckline only. Please do not make the mistake of cutting your front neckline when this fabric is still on fold. So I'll go ahead and cut my back neckline. And I'll go ahead and cut my sides. So I'm done cutting my sides. I'm going to open up my fabric. But before I do that, I'm going to notch my point, my midpoint, and neck point. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to separate my back from my front. Before I can cut my front neckline. So once I'm done separating this, I'll take my pen to pin it down so that it doesn't move. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to mark the middle part where we are going to be adding this orange fabric. So from my neck point where I marked my 10 inches, I'm going to be going in by 1.5. So what I'm supposed to remove in total is 2 inches, but I'm not going to be removing 2 inches because I need half inches allowance for joining. So I'm going to be removing 1.5, leaving half inches for joining. So I'm going to be marking this 1.5 inches down to the hemline, and I will connect with a ruler once I'm done with that. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to connect the last part back to the neck point, as you can see me do on this video. So once you're done, please make sure to blend that part so that it doesn't look pointy. Blend it. So as I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. So we are done cutting off the front neckline. So we're going to be keeping this fabric aside, but before we do that, we are going to be measuring round the neckline, and whatever we get is what we're going to use to cut this fabric that will be pairing with this. So let's go ahead and measure the neckline. So I'm done cutting the straps for this fabric, and I had to cut 2 straps in order to get my desired length, of which I'm going to be joining together. And for the width of this strap, I used 5 inches width. So when I fold it together, I'm going to be getting 2.5 inches, and of which that half inches is going to be my joining allowance. And this is also 3 inches for my sleeve strap as well. So I'll go ahead and iron my hairstay on this fabric, and I'll come right back. So I'm done ironing my hairstay on this fabric, and as you can see, I ironed it on fold in order to get my middle line or my midline. So I ironed it on fold, and this is my strap for the sleeve. So keep that aside. So we'll have to determine our neckline and also determine our slits for this front. So we're going to keep this aside and go back to our main fabric. So on my front fabric, I have already determined where my slit is going to start, and I'm going to be measuring my neckline. So I'll go ahead and measure from my neck depth to the end of my neckline. That's from my neck depth to my back neckline. So I'm going to measure it. Please take your time to take these measurements so you don't make mistakes. So I've gotten my measurements for my neckline, and I'll go ahead and measure from my neckline to my sleeve, to my slit. So I'm going to measure from my slit to where my neck depth stops. So once I'm done measuring this, I'll keep my fabric aside, then we go back to our strap. So I'm going to open up my straps to get my midpoint, and I'm going to be pinning this down, as you can see me do. So make sure to arrange it well and pin it down. So I'll go ahead and measure what I got for my neckline, and I'm going to marking it from up. So whatever the number that I got for my neckline ends, I'm going to mark it. So I'll go ahead and mark it. So from that, my neck depth, I'm going to be marking my slit. I'm going to be marking where my slit is going to be starting. So I'm marking what I got from my slit to my neck depth. So once I'm done marking, I'm going to be sewing from my slip length down to my neck point. Guys, please, you're only sewing the middle line. So I'll go ahead and join my sleeves as well. So I'm done joining my sleeve straps to my sleeve, guys, and this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. And also I have sewn the middle line that I marked. I've sewn it together. So I'm removing my pins and I'm going to open it up, as you can see. So this is what it's going to look like when you open it up. So I will go and iron it. So I'm done ironing, and this is how perfect it looks. So this is what your straps is going to look like. And the next thing I'm going to do is to join this to my fabric. So I'm going to make pinning the midpoint of the strap to the midpoint of my dress, of my back neckline. And I'll go ahead and pin it down, carefully pin it down. So I'm done pinning everything together. As you can see, I'm done pinning everything together, so I'll go and join it. So I'm done joining it and ironing. The next thing to do is to join my sides. So I'm done joining my sides. I'll open it up and iron, and also I'm going to fold my hem. And this is the finished look after adding my cover buttons. Thank you for watching, and if you found my video very helpful, do not forget to subscribe, like, and also turn on your notification button so you can get notified whenever I post a new tutorial. And also guys, do not forget to like and drop your comments in the comment section. Guys, your feedbacks are very important to me. Bye.